Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the run, on the run, on the run. Hear them calling you.
Hello, and welcome back to Frontline Rejects. Today, we're continuing our expansion series, and we're going to be testing Hornady's 165 grain boat tail soft point interlock. The interlock is a non-bonded cup and cable bullet that uses an interlock ring which is cut into the outside of the jacket around the bullet. This, in effect, presses the jacket into the bullet and should allow the jacket to retain the core with the round being non-bonded, similar to the nozzler partition. We have this bullet loaded up in 7.5 Swiss, and all rounds today are going to be fired through my Schmidt-Rubin K31. We'll be testing from 100 to 400 yards. As always, make sure to stick around to the end of the video until we get into my favorite part, the graphing. Thanks for watching. Let's begin. Looking at the results here, we can see the impacts from all ranges fired, and at first glance it's pretty apparent that at the 1, 2, and 4 the rounds stayed pretty much intact. At the 3 we had some pretty heavy fragmenting. At the 100, consistent mushrooming, consistent expansion, good result. At the 200, while the core and the jacket did stay together, as we can see, it did expand in sort of an odd fashion, like it was peeling back layers almost. At the 300 we saw a result consistent with what we see with most non-bonded rounds when fired at a higher velocity. It tore itself to shreds. We did find the base of the copper jacket in about the third jug, so it penetrated but not terribly far. The rest of it, the fragments were sprinkled throughout the 4th, 5th, and 6th jug. At the 400, again we have the jacket retained with the core, and here we can see the interlock ring just below the edge of where the expansion begins on the shank. Looking at the graphs here, we do have some interesting results. Expansion was pretty consistent across all ranges fired. On the low end, about 1.88 times. On the high end, about 2.06 times. And this averaged out to 1.97 times average expansion, which is darn near 2 times its original size, which is excellent. Things get a little funky when we start looking at the weight. The weight was all over the place. At the 300 yard mark, we were able to recover 82.6 grains. At the 400, we were able to recover 142.2 grains. Now what this averaged out to across all ranges fired was 56.5% weight retention, which is interesting because Hornady advertises for the interlock that the round will retain in between 50 to 60% of its weight on average. And on average, that's the result we got, although only one of our individual values actually fell within that metric. Overall, though, for a .30 caliber bullet, this is a very affordable round. It has a good G1 ballistic coefficient. We were getting good velocity out of this particular chambering. You could expect to get slightly lower velocity out of a 308 and maybe slightly higher velocity out of a 30-06. And I think this round really lends itself well to this particular chambering. This is something that I would definitely consider carrying in the field if I was hunting with my K31, especially considering that at 3 out of 4 ranges, the interlock ring did its job and allowed the jacket to retain that core, which is impressive considering how tough of a medium water is for testing in. We have tested this round as well in our 270 Win short mag, and I feel like the interlock rounds lend themselves to a lower velocity chambering, and they were able to perform very well chambered in our 7.5 Swiss here. These are good results that I'm very happy with. Extremely low expansion standard deviation. Overall, solid round, solid performer. As always, if you've enjoyed today's content, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and keep your eyes peeled for our next expansion video. Thanks for watching.